Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a video response to the White Roses video, 3 Things About Islam. In their video description, it says, 3 surprising things you probably didn't know about Islam. Now, these 3 things are very surprising, especially to Muslims, because we've never heard of them before. As anti-Islamic propaganda, these ridiculous ideas are nothing new. Now, to refute the White Roses video, we have to go no further than their own sources and referenced Quranic verses. So now let's address their 3 false claims in reverse order. The White Roses' third false claim is that the Quran supposedly commands Muslims to lie about our violent goals using something called Taqiya. From the White Roses video description, following the link to one of their sources, the reference used to prove that Muslims supposedly lie to promote our religion says that Taqiya has something to do with the Shia minority. The vast majority of Muslims have never heard what the heck Taqiya is, so let's examine the Wikipedia reference from the White Roses video description. Taqiya is a practice in Shia Islam whereby adherents may conceal their faith when they feel that they are under threat, persecution, or compulsion. So the 10% minority Shia may use Taqiya to conceal their faith in fear of direct harm. For example, Wikipedia cites the Quran chapter 16 verse 106, which refers to the case of Ammar bin Yasir, who was forced to renounce his beliefs under physical duress and torture. This is very similar to the Old Testament, where God commands Samuel to deceive people to prevent Saul from killing him.
I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided for myself a king among his sons.
And Samuel said, "How can I go? If Saul hears it, he will kill me." And the Lord said,
Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord.
So back to the White Roses reference, what's the majority's Sunni point of view? While Sunnis agree that it's allowed to conceal the faith to protect their lives, they greatly differ with the Shia point of view. There is no such terminology as Taqiya in Sunni jurisprudence. Now let's watch the White Roses' first distortion of their own references about Taqiya.
For non-Muslims, this principle, called Taqiya, is another surprising concept of Islam.
As we saw from their own reference, for the vast majority of Islam, there is no such terminology as Taqiya. Now let's continue where we left off with the reference. Protecting one's belief during extreme or exigent circumstances is called ittirar, and this word is not specific to concealing the faith. For example, one is allowed to consume prohibited or haram food to protect one's life under the jurisprudence of ittirar. However, in no way does this suggest that this is used as a means to promote the religion. Now let's watch the White Roses' second distortion of their own references about Taqiya.
Muslims are allowed to deceive non-Muslims if it helps Islam.
Again, as we saw from their own reference, for the 90% Sunni majority of Islam, in no way does this suggest that this ittirar is used as a means to promote the religion. And even for the Shia minority, their vast majority Twelvers, according to Wikipedia's own reference number 6, according to Imam Khomeini, Taqiya is permitted only when one's life is jeopardized. But when Islam is in danger, it's not permitted even if it leads to one's death. Now let's watch the White Roses' third distortion of their own references about Taqiya.
While most other religions speak highly of truthfulness, the Quran instructs Muslims to lie to non-Muslims about their beliefs and their political ambitions to protect and spread Islam.
And again, according to the White Roses' own references, the Sunni majority and the majority of Shia completely reject the concept of hiding our beliefs to promote our religion. But where have we seen this idea before? Now I remember. The White Roses are confusing the Quran with what Paul said in the New Testament.
To the Jews, I became as a Jew in order to win Jews. To those under the law, I became as one under the law, though not being myself under the law, that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law, I became as one outside the law, that I might win those outside the law. To the weak, I became weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some.
Now that we know that this idea to do and say anything to anyone to spread a religion comes from Paul and not from the Quran, let's go back to the White Roses video.
Islam as a religion of peace. Muslim organizations worldwide often declare that Islam is a religion of peace. But what does that really mean?
Since their references said that Sunni Muslims and the Shia's majority do not lie to spread our religion, that really means that the White Roses' own references have just debunked their entire video. It's ironic that the White Roses slander Muslims of lying to promote our ideology by lying to promote their ideology. The White Roses' second false claim is that the Quran supposedly commands Muslims to replace all governments with Sharia law. From the White Roses video description, following the link to their same source, we can see that their reference for Islam's supposed objective of establishing Sharia law is part of a sentence from the Quran chapter 8 verse 39, that religion should be only for Allah. Not only is the term Sharia absent from this entire verse, it's also not surprising that Islam haters can only quote a partial phrase of the Quran. The context starts in the previous verse, as shown in our video response to Geert Wilder's fitna.
Tell those who disbelieve that if they cease from persecution of believers, that which is past will be forgiven them.
The omitted previous verse explicitly forgives religious persecutors if they cease and does not demand conversion.
And fight them until persecution is no more, and religion is all for Allah. That if they cease, then lo, Allah is seer of what they do.
This verse calls to fight only to end persecution and oppression. The expression religion is all for Allah means choosing Islam should be entirely for the sake of Allah and not by force, especially viewing that the omitted end of the verse repeats again, if they cease, which proves the objective is to end persecution. As a result, quite the opposite of oppressing people to accept Islam, this verse commands to fight, if needed, to liberate people from religious persecution or oppression. Allah, Allah, Allah.